the time I'm making this video, I've traveled to over 160 countries on 6 continents. One of the first questions people always ask me is which country I think is the best or most beautiful. Without batting an eyelid, I always answer South Africa. Now, it might sound biased at first because it's the country of my birth and it was home for over 30 years. And during that time, I lived and worked and explored all 9 provinces. But since then, I've seen many other beautiful places. But this is not a video about the most beautiful singular place in the world. Obviously, that would be the fjords of Norway watching the Northern Lights. In my mind, there's no competition or more beautiful singular place in the world than that. This video focuses more on the whole country and how the diversity of the land, people, animals, history, culture all come together to make South Africa the most beautiful country in the world. Now, I tried to be a bit more scientific about this, and I wanted to go through some reasons why I say that, and I'm going to start with megadiversity. There are only 17 countries in the world that are classed as megadiverse in terms of its biodiversity and endemic species. Now, it stands to reason that the most beautiful country in the world would come from this kind of list of extraordinary, diverse and beautiful countries. I'm not going to go through all 17. I've put the list up here so you can have a look. But basically, Brazil and Colombia tops this list in terms of biodiversity because of the immense list of species found in the Amazon rainforest. Right next is the USA, simply because of its vast size and many different biomes. Think tundra, deserts, forests, the frozen permafrost of Alaska. And then South Africa comes in number 4, which is staggering if you consider the size of the country relative to the others. It is truly mega diverse. In the west, the stunningly rugged coastline merges with the Namib Desert, one of the driest places in the world, to make up the skeleton coastline. In the east, the aptly named Wild Coast provides some of the most beautiful unspoiled beaches in the world. The Cape Floral Kingdom represents less than half of 1% of the area of Africa, but is home to nearly 20% of the continent's floral species. The interior, or heart of the country, provides some of the most remarkable wildlife sanctuaries in the world. Famous parks such as Kruger, Addo, Limpopo Transfrontier, and Kalahari have captured the imagination of wildlife enthusiasts across the world. The Namakwaland in the north turns into the largest wildflower garden just after the first rains. South Africa has some of the most unique mountain ranges anywhere on the planet. The Drakensberg, Waterberg, and of course Table Mountain offer breathtaking world-class views. It is because of this immense diversity on land that many people forget that South Africa also has one of the most diverse coastlines in the world. 2 very different oceanic currents flank the coastline. The west coast of southern Africa is surrounded by the cold Benguela current, and on the east coast, the warm Agulhas current moves south from the equator. The 2,500 kilometer plus coastline plays host to 83% of all known marine fish families, with 13% of those being endemic. Even more impressive is the 36% endemic invertebrates, where South Africa boasts several squid and jellyfish that are found nowhere else. The standout for tourists has to be the largest migration in the world, even larger than the wildebeest in the Serengeti. The sardine run, as it's called locally, produces one of the greatest animal spectacles on Earth. Imagine tens of thousands of birds plunging from the sky, feeding on the fish. Literally millions of them, with larger game fish and numerous species of sharks, all feeding on the wealth of food that is available. The numbers and variety of sharks is astounding. Hammerheads, Sambeses, bronze whalers, coppers and great whites can be seen by the hundreds, as well as common and bottlenose dolphins. If you're not on the water but you still want to enjoy the sand and the beaches, visit one of the nearly 50 blue flag beaches, marinas or coastal sanctuaries. St. Lucia Wetlands Park is one of the most biodiverse oceanic sanctuaries in the world, with nearly 330,000 hectares of pristine oceanfront preserved as a National World Heritage Site. A large part of what makes South Africa such a beautiful country is the people and its unique culture. It is home to nearly 60 million people of various ethnic backgrounds. There are different tribes in every province, each with their own unique history and culture. South Africa has 11 national languages and many more regional dialects. Nowhere is this rich tapestry of influence expressed better than in the food. Simply put, you will be hard-pressed to find a more diverse and delicious offering anywhere else in the world. You have major influences from the large Indian community, European cuisine, Malaysian fusion, and of course, all the African recipes. Much of the cooking is done outside, on a braai, which should include at least meat, vegetables, and a salad. Pair this with some excellent local wine and you will enjoy the scenery even more. South Africa is one of the best destinations for adventure tourism in the world. It makes great use of some of the unique features of the country mentioned in previous sections. You can dive with great white sharks in Cape Town, or dolphins if you're so inclined, wreck dive around Sudwana or catch marlin off the east coast. You can go on safari in almost all of the provinces, or walk among lions and leopards in Johannesburg, the Lion Park. South Africans love their sport and in particular the outdoor stuff. The world's highest bungee jump is at the Blowkrans Bridge in the Western Cape. SA has thousands of miles of rivers, walking trails, dams, and everything from cycling, running, dancing, shooting, falling, climbing, most other human activities that you can think of. Therefore, if you're an adrenaline sports junkie, you will not be disappointed with South Africa. You walk and wander through the streets of Athens or Rome looking at the statues that are older than most buildings anywhere else in the world. But I always think back to the discoveries made in South Africa and that it is the true cradle of life for mankind. There have been settlers in these parts going back thousands of years and it shines through in the rich history of the country. From rock drawings of the Bushmen in the Kalahari to cave-dwelling families thousands of years ago, the country paints a glorious picture of the history of mankind. It was discovered, forgotten, and rediscovered, occupied by European colonists, freed and occupied again. South Africa had the first mass concentration camp set up by the British and years of suffering under colonial rule. Tribes from all over Africa have migrated to, fought, and died for this land. Yet modern South Africa both sets the example of what can be achieved in Africa through diplomacy and also how corrupt, inept government can bring it to its knees. It has a past so interesting that it is a historical destination all on its own. I've heard many jokes about Cape Town being the only nice city in South Africa, but it's actually unfair for the rest of the country that they are compared to one of the top 10 best tourist cities in the world. There are many great cities in the country spread across a diverse landscape and yet still within easy access of the main transport arteries. Johannesburg, Durban, Bloemfontein, Nelspruit are internationally renowned tourist destinations, but smaller places like Hermanus, Pilgrim's Rest, Sun City, Sutherland, Jeffreys Bay, George, Clarence, Oudtshoorn and Dullstroom all provide amazing tourist attractions. You really need from a month to a lifetime to explore the country properly. Africa has many charms, but ease of travel has always been near the bottom of that list. You can safari in 5-star luxury, only a few minutes from an international airport with direct connections to the rest of the world. The most tar roads in Africa, world-class motorways, cruise ships along the coastline, and myriad domestic flights make it very easy to get about, even to remote parts of the country. You really have no excuse not to visit South Africa. These are all the reasons why I think South Africa is the most beautiful country in the world. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please click the like button and share with your friends. I'd also love to hear what your opinion is on this topic, so write your choice of the most beautiful country in the world in the comment section.